Welcome to a collaboration between the SEO Mindset and Opinionated SEO Opinions. I'm one of your hosts, Sam Torres, with my fellow hosts of Opinionated SEO Opinions, Tori Gray and Begum Kaya. And then we're joined by the lovely ladies of the SEO Mindset. If y'all want to introduce yourselves.
Would you like me to go first, Tasmin? Yes, I'll go first. Yes, so my name is Sarah. I co-host the SEO Mindset podcast. I'm very excited to do a collaborative piece with you today. So very, very excited. Tasmin, who are you?
So my name is Tazmin. As Sarah said, Sarah and I co-host the SEO Mindset podcast. And in the rest of my time, I'm either coaching people to further their careers or writing about it or talking about it. So that is my whole life. It's more about learning and development now.
That's wonderful. And yes, Tasmin, I believe you are surrounded by a bunch of SEOs right now. So really excited to be talking about this topic. We're going to be talking about embracing change and really being healthy throughout everything that goes on in an industry like SEO. But of course, it's not limited to only SEO. So before we get started, Tori, Begum, did you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Tori Gray. I'm the CEO and leader of the Gray Company. We focus on SEO strategy and technical expertise, and we just really love digging into meaty, fun SEO and data problems with really cool teams and clients. So glad to be here. Begum?
And I am the technical SEO at the Gray Company, who is always happy to tackle these challenges alongside these two beautiful, brilliant ladies.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, everyone, for joining, and let's just dig in. So, Begum, you want to kick us off?
Of course. I'm very excited to do that, as it's a very, very relevant point, I would say, recently. So our first question is, for industries where many things evolve and change fundamentally, and it's happening very fast, how do you stay on top of, dare we say, the changes that happen in the industry and adapt to them as they happen?
I can go, if that's okay. I feel very like British and very like, is it okay if I speak? Is it my turn?
Mind the gap.
Yeah. That's so hard, isn't it? It's a great question, but it's so hard. And I think just as a caveat, working in the SEO industry, it can be overwhelming by how much change there actually is. And it's really hard to stay on top. So I just want to start with my caveat saying, like, you don't feel like you are losing or you're not doing well if you don't feel like you're keeping up, because there's just so much. It's hard, right? But tips that I do to try and keep up with what's going on in the industry is being part of like communities. So I think we're all part of the Women in Tech SEO community, fabulous community. Shout out to Reej Abu Ali, fabulous woman as well. So yeah, being a part of that community is great to keep up to date, because people are always posting stuff in there, news, what's going on. Lots of the times that's how I sort of come across new things. I also sign up to newsletters. Now, back in the day, I signed up to every newsletter going. Do you know what I mean? I thought like more. I need all the information. Obviously, I ended up overwhelmed, didn't read all the newsletters that were coming in. It just like, yeah, they just sat there, another thing to do on my to-do list. So what I do now is I kind of cherry pick the newsletters and and articles and stuff like that come up or people point me in the direction of. So I cherry pick sort of my favorite ones and stick to them. And I try, obviously it's very hard, but I try and carve out like 15 minutes at the start of my day or during my lunch break or before I finish, 15 minutes just trying to like browse newsletters, browse the news and things like that. Google also have a good, every month they do a roundup, don't they, on YouTube. I've forgotten what that's called, like search, this month on search. It's something like that. And
Yeah.
I've just put everyone on the spotlight, haven't I? Because everyone's like, I don't know what it's called either.
I always get a link for it in the Women in Tech SEO community. So I think we're probably all watching it in the same place.
Yeah, basically it's headed by John Mueller, isn't it? So
Right.
yeah.
Yes. Anything by him is golden. But I think one of the things I really love about what you just called out is cherry picking your newsletters. I'd also say there's almost a sense of cherry picking your discipline within SEO. I think a lot of people don't realize SEO is such a broad field and there's many different specializations that you could go into. So, pick your areas where you really want to be really good at it. And, obviously major changes you probably still want to be up on, but I think the community call out is a great one. Yeah. Tazmin, how do you usually coach any of your clients through these kinds of changes?
One thing I will say to them is put a blanket of perspective. No one died. You know what? It is a job. It is a discipline. It is part of your life. It is not your whole life. The other thing I remind them to look at is what can you realistically control and what can't you? Because we feel like there is this abundance of change going on, but actually, when you look at what you can actually do about it, it is a small subset of it rather than the whole. So those are two things I get them to look at. A bit like you said, look at which bits you actually need to learn to progress, because you can't learn everything. And remind yourself that you're not the only one in that situation. This change isn't happening just for you, it's happening for a whole industry. So, like Sarah said, you're not getting left behind, you're not losing. Everyone is in the same boat. But the more you can keep hold of like your inner strength, the better, because once you start feeling overwhelmed, it's a slippery slope. And Sarah and those people who know me will know that I always, always advocate self-care. Self-care isn't the thing that you do when you're broken. It is a thing that you do every day to make sure you are in the best possible physical, emotional, and mental state to be able to deal with the changes. Hope that's given you some tips.
Absolutely. Yes. And just one more thing to add. I just want to say, in this particular year, above all years, this has been just a bananas of a year. So maybe just give yourself a little bit more grace than you might even usually. This is hard at the best of times. This year, I think everyone, including the people who this is their job and that's what they do, is stay up on this so they can inform their teams, and even they're exhausted. So just breathe and remember there's time and we'll figure it out and it's okay. And just like Tazmin said, you're not saving someone's life, you're not curing cancer.
Give yourself some slack, be kinder to yourself, I think is what we're all saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And it goes actually both ways. The more you take care of yourself, the more you're available to lift up your team as well, or other stakeholders that you're in contact with. So, I mean, another angle of this would be the information transfer. So how I actually wanted to ask, how do you go about keeping other stakeholders in the loop, whether on industry changes or lift them up? And how do you help them increase the impact on the business? When and what do you choose to communicate and when?
I'll go again. I feel like I'm steering the show a little bit, always going first.
I like it.
Another great question. So yeah, I suppose one of my recommendations here is, who is that stakeholder that you're talking to? Okay, what is their job within the business? What is important to them, and how does SEO help facilitate their job, or how does SEO help their job or help their department or lift it up or what have you? So understand who you are talking to, understand how they tick. So I recently read, and I go on about this book so much because I love it so much, but I recently read a book called Surrounded by Idiots, Understanding 4 Types of Human Behavior, written by a Swedish behaviorist called Thomas Eriksson. And he basically, it's a book all about how to understand the four main types of human behavior, and they kind of he categorizes them into four different colors. Okay. So that was a really good book as well, because I'm not just understanding what that person does in the company, but I'm also understanding how they are as a person, right? Do they like fluff? Do they like stats? Are they analytical? Do they want the research to back it up, sort of thing? So whenever I have something important that I need to relay to a stakeholder, whoever that is, I try and understand those core principles first, because then when I'm approaching them and telling them about this important thing and how it's going to impact them, I'm not setting myself up for a fail, because I know how best this is going to come across, if that makes sense.
I would want to, as a stakeholder, I'd want to know straight away, even if you didn't give me all of the detail. Tell me something's happened, because that maintains the trust. And even if you have to say, something's happened, it's going to affect your bottom line. I don't have the numbers yet. I will get you the numbers by Thursday. That's fine with me. I just want to know that I can trust you and you're taking care of it. And I wouldn't want to know all of the details. How is it impacting my bottom line? What are you going to do about it? Again, don't need all of the detail. I want to know that I can, again, trust you to get on with it. So that would be the other side of the fence thoughts on this.
Oh, that's great. And I love how it's really, a lot of this is just basic relationship, right? Communication is key, making sure you're on the same page. So yeah, love all of that. As far as just like logistically how it happens, I'll speak to just what we do at Grey Dot Company. So to keep the team up to date on what we see, we really just post a lot of things in Slack. We may post some thought processes and then also bring up important things in our one-to-ones with our team members. Externally, because we are an agency, we have clients. For major changes, we actually will send out an email, especially if it's something that's going to affect the clients. And we try to make a note of it too. We can't do it in GA4 anymore, but so now we have to put our annotation somewhere else. But those are the places, those are definitely the things that we try to do. Keep a record of those types of, if Google is making an update and that's something that we need to communicate as quickly as possible.
Yeah. When it's a big thing too, some things we do is to review a bunch of different things and then to put it together in an internal document where there's some synthesis of what the heck does this thing mean. So an example from earlier this year, before things got too crazy, or maybe it was last year, what even is time, but suddenly everyone was talking about entity SEO, and I just, I had to go like this and put my head over my hands and really just think about what is this. And so eventually I took a deep breath and I went and I viewed a bunch of videos, and then it's the thing that you often think it is, which is it's not actually net new. It's just a slightly different lens and a way to talk about an existing problem. But the point being, you absorb that information, you put that together in a synthesis document, and then it's something you can share with your team. And as a bonus, we've actually taken that sort of stuff. Like I've done this in previous years when suddenly everyone was talking about internal linking and how important that was. And then I can turn that into content. I've turned that internal documentation with an articulate point of view and say, this is why this matters, after we've, done some work and processed it and make sure that I'm making sense with what I'm saying.
And on the flip side, we then took that article and I've turned it into custom documentation for clients. So the uses are just tenfold. Yeah,
Repurposing content left, right, and center.
Yes. Yeah, in a past agency, it was very large. I had a monthly meeting to get in front of all the account managers and other channel heads to kind of tell them what's going on. That's probably been one of my favorite things to do, because also preparing for that meeting forced me to stay up to date. So it was really nice, but obviously had to get management buy-in to get that many people in the room and get their time. But something that I've found is very successful for keeping the whole team on the same page.
I think something else just to add as well, and it's something that we said earlier, SEO, Google, search engines. I realised that I just said a load of buzzwords there, so get me as an SEO. But there is so much change happening. You can end up feel like you're chasing your tail a little bit. And especially when I first started in SEO, like whenever something new came up, or like Tori, as you were saying, everyone was talking about entity SEO, it's really easy to fall into the trap of getting caught up in that thing, because that's the really trendy thing in SEO or Google at the time. However, you always need to take a step back and be like, right, okay, how does this impact my business? How does it impact my if you're an agency, how does it impact my clients? Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's going to have a big impact, sometimes it's not. So I think it's just having that awareness of, just because it's trendy and big in SEO doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be big for clients and yourself.
So I'm going to go digress a little bit. What you're talking about really just makes me think of the movie Up, and the dog who's just like, squirrel. Like, I feel like there's a lot of moments that we have in marketing for that with digital. So do you guys have any tips on how to kind of avoid that, like, oh, I'm going to focus here. Oh, this is hot. That's what I'm going to go look at. This is the trendy thing. Anything for helping to stay focused on that bottom line? Because it is really easy to get into like the flashy things.
Prioritization is your friend, is what I would say. Roadmaps, plan, strategy, okay? Like, and again, I just jumped in there. Squirrel, I was excited. I wanted to get involved. And Up is a great movie as well. But yeah, like always try, and because you've put a plan and a strategy and you've put this together, so you know where you want to go, you know, and it's going to be a long-term plan, isn't it? Because things take a while. So whenever something new does pop up, have a look, and if it is going to impact you, how does it fit in with your roadmap? If it doesn't impact you, don't let it take away from your roadmap, because that's more important at the end of the day. That roadmap, that strategy. And I'm not saying that like your strategies and plans need to stick and stay the same. I'm not saying that at all, because they do need to be flexible. You need to be able to change, because things are like changing all the time. But just don't get too carried away with, oh, what's that shiny thing? Because at the end of the day, business has their own goals. Businesses need to make money. Businesses need to do X, Y, and Z, right? And I always get confused. Is Z or Z the American way? I think Z is the American way, and Z's the English way, isn't it?
Yep, and Canadian.
And Canadian.
Yes.
There you go. So that's my input. I don't know if Tazmin has more sort of like behavioral or more psychological.
So before we get to that, I don't know if you can hear, there are product managers everywhere cheering.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Not so much behavioral, more human. So have a group of people who are willing to challenge you. So I'm part of this business mastermind. There's 4 of us in total. Every month we get together and say, this is what happened this month. This is what I'm thinking of doing this month. And they're really good at saying to me, because I'm that, oh, look, there's this new thing I could be looking at. And they say, and how is that going to help you? How is that going to help you reach the goals that you have said that you wanted to reach? How is that going to grow your business? And that, I think, for me is key to having people who you are accountable to and who are absolutely willing to tear you into shreds, because that trustworthy relationship is gold.
Yes, I was going to go with the same thing, because again, coming back to Women in Tech SEO, there is a mentorship cohort that's happening every 6 months now, I think, that is so valuable. And you get to meet so many people that you're going to pick their brains about. And most of the people are available to help, and they're really willing to help, actually. So it's very good to have that community for yourself where you can rely on and just go talk stuff.
Definitely.
So with that thing in mind, we can come to our third question, which is, how important is it to create and take part in industry support systems or communities to facilitate growth and navigate change? Maybe we can start with Tori this time.
Me?
very.
Oh my
Yes,
goodness.
putting you on the spot. Sorry.
So, well, it's funny because I think we're all going to be a little bit biased in answering this question because we are all part of a community. How we met that, has been, I think, honestly pretty transformative. I can only speak for myself, but I think I'm not the only one. I don't know that I had that support system. For the first, 12, 13 years in SEO, I had my team locally. And I had good managers that I was very lucky to have, but I didn't necessarily have the broader SEO community, and I didn't start to participate in the broader SEO community until, thanks to Arij and Women in Tech SEO. And emotionally and, in terms of like business success, I owe so much to her. So my bias is, can you live without it? Sure. Can it transform you and make you better and happier? Yeah, go find it.
I think it's also important to be part of a community because it can help you feel less lonely, especially because there's lots of SEOs out there who they might be the only SEO in their team, in their business. So it can feel quite lonely, especially if because I think people who work in SEO, you kind of catch the bug and you love it. You love talking about it. When there's new things that come up, you want to discuss it. You want to share it. There's been times where I've tried to have these conversations with my girlfriend and she's like, I really want to be excited for you, Sarah, but I have no idea what you're saying to me. Yeah. So being part of a community like the Women in Tech SEO helps you not feel lonely, right? There are a bunch of other people, and in the case of Women in Tech, fabulous women who are this is going to sound cliche, like-minded individuals, but they are because they have the same passions as you. They're interested in SEO, Google. They like nerding out on it as well. It's also a safe space to ask questions, okay? So if a change comes up, or there's something that I need to know, I go to the Women in Tech SEO community, because how many times have we posted something out there on, say, Twitter, and we get you don't call them gremlins, what do you call them? The word has gone out of my head. Trolls. Thank you, trolls. You get the trolls who start keyboard worrying. That looked more like Jazz House, didn't it? Keyboard worrying. And it can just make you feel a bit not worthless, but because no question is a stupid question, okay? We're all learning, things are new all the time. And actually, I always try and ask the obvious question anyway, because how many times have you been in a meeting, someone asks the obvious question, and you're like, I am so glad they asked that because I had no idea myself. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the matter as well.
To that, I think it's the anytime you go to a help desk support, have you tried turning it on and off again? Sometimes you just need to go there, because what if there is a foundational piece missing, right? That's really, we laugh about it, but also how many times has that solved the problem? Way more than probably any of us want to admit. And I will say, for those
annoyingly often.
Annoyingly often, for sure. And yeah, again, I'm another huge supporter of Women in Tech SEO. I owe that community a lot. I wouldn't have even met my now business partner without it. So you can imagine just the impact it's had on my life. And I do want to say, for those who do not identify as women, there are other communities for you as well. Tori and I are in a number of others. There's Traffic Think Tank, the OMG Center. There's lots of things that you can find on Reddit. Yeah, top of the funnel. So there's really a lot of communities. And yeah, implore you to find them, because it's, especially with remote work on the rise, I think people are just realizing how lonely we are and how much we do want to nerd about these things with other people. And Sarah, I was laughing because my husband definitely has had the same experiences of he has heard me teach classes so many times because I'll practice with him. And he's like, yeah, you're getting really excited about canonicalization, and I just don't care.
Well, I was also laughing at what Sarah was saying, because I feel like you'll never be berated in Women in Tech SEO. But if you're going to be berated about one thing, it's going to be this is a stupid question, but.
Oh my God,
or this might be a stupid question, but, or forgive me for asking this. Like, no, we're actually going to get on you because that's not okay to say, because you're harming yourself and you're setting other people up accidentally to make them feel like they're asking stupid questions. No such thing. We're here for everybody where they are, wherever that may be today.
Yep.
Amazing.
So true.
This is making my heart full. I feel like my cheeks are gonna ache because I'm
Right.
smiling so much, I'm nodding so much. Like, yeah, not that nodding hurts your cheeks, but anyway.
I'm gonna go with it. Yeah.
So the elephant in the room, ladies, are we ready for it?
Always.
So we've been talking about change, but I think the biggest element that caused that change or the shift in SEO might be the AI conversation. And this current conversation around AI has stoked a lot of fear in terms of what it means for SEO, what's the future of SEO is going to be like. How do you feel this is like, or unlike other major changes that have made SEOs feel uncertain about what's next?
I'm going to put my halfpenny's worth into this and then leave you SEO proper professionals to it. I was born so long ago that I remember a time before Google. I remember a time when if you wanted to find information, you went to this thing called a library and got what was called a reference book. You weren't even allowed to take that book home. So do I think things are moving fast? Yes. Have they moved fast before? Yes. I don't remember being scared at the time. I don't remember thinking, oh no, I'll never have to go and look at 3 reference books again instead of just typing something in and getting the answer. But I do appreciate that it's crazy right now. Personally speaking, I don't, line of business is very different. People still want to talk to a coach. People still want that human interaction. And I don't think we should ever, ever underestimate the power of what human interaction brings into any scenario.
Yes, I love that. We are human. Human connection is important, isn't it? And that's kind of what we've been saying anyway. Like, the whole point of being part of a community and us working remotely is like you want to find connection with people somehow. And that's always going to be an element. To me, I think when change comes, it is scary because we're scared. Like, you hear that you should embrace change, right? Change is good, but it can be scary because you might be thinking, oh gosh, that's something else that I've got to like get clued up on, or something else that I'm not like good at maybe. Or you might be thinking, oh, is my job at stake? Because that often gets talked about as well, doesn't it? So I completely get those worries, and I've had those worries too. But something that as I'm doing research and looking into, and I've started to use AI more, is you kind of have to try and embrace change and have a go, because then you're less likely to be left behind. And I think AI, we don't know where AI is going to go. Do we really? We can only like predict or have our own opinions about it. But there are ways to use it, and it's not that scary. Like, ChatGPT is a great tool, and it can actually, I found that it actually speeds up processes for me. So because I do a lot of content briefs, or I do a lot of research and putting content ideas together, I can use ChatGPT to speed some things up for me. I don't think that like AI can replace content writers altogether, because I've seen it where companies have been pulled up because they've used AI or ChatGPT or what have you, and something's been wrong, something's not been quite right and stuff. So there's still a place. I realise that I'm going all over the shop with this answer. That's kind of like how my brain works, the shiny stuff. But yeah, so yeah, just try it. Like, I was hesitant to like use it at first because I was like, oh gosh, it's too techie for me. But actually, as I started using it, and the more that I started using it, like the more comfortable I was, and like I've experimented more. So for example, when I'm writing content, I know that I love words. I'm a fluffer. I put loads of stuff in. So you can use AI and ChatGPT to say, hey, make this more concise and things like that. So there's loads of really cool use cases for AI. You've just got to get out there and start using it, trying it, experimenting with it. And there's loads of resources out there that help you as well.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've also been thinking about because of that fear of like, it's going to take my job. So the other thing I like to add the perspective is that SEO, for us specifically, we are a young industry, right? Tori has 14, 15 years experience. I'm coming in with 13 now. Like, we're grandmas. By the way, guys, we're still in our 30s, so that's weird. like it's weird to be, and I know there are people who have been doing it for 20 plus years, so I'm not going to say that there's not more experienced people out there. But it is a young industry. It is a young field. And I'd also argue that what Tori and I were doing 10 years ago looks nothing like what we do today. So our job has already changed and we've kind of evolved with that. Now, one thing I've also seen, journalists much smarter than me have commented on that this AI is almost like the .com bust version 2. And what did we see happen? Well, we did see, unfortunately, some industries did decline, right? So talking about the reference books and encyclopedias, those companies, had to reimagine how they're going to run their business and generate their profits. So I think there is some areas where there is going to be change and it is going to be painful. But on the other side, also look at all of the job creation that .com bust produced. We wouldn't have jobs without it. Well, I mean, I'm assuming we'd still have jobs. It just wouldn't be this one. So, I think we're in kind of that, we're going to see, really what doesn't survive anymore because of that. And it is terrifying. And, Sarah, you were talking about, we're seeing a lot of people who are choosing to replace their content writers with AI. I think it's, there's a lot of conversations about why that's a little too soon. There's bias in AI. We can't cite everything, fact checking, right? There's a lot to that. But also at the end of the day, our jobs have changed so much that it's almost like, no, it's just our skill set is going to change. Because I even think about just in the last 5 years as an SEO, suddenly we're talking about Amazon SEO and TikTok SEO and YouTube SEO. And if you had told me 10 years ago that part of my job would be how to optimize on Amazon and YouTube, I'd be like, no, that's somebody else. That's somebody else completely. So it's just, we are constantly evolving. And because we are young, I think is one of the reasons why we are changing so quickly, because there's no mold for us to fit yet. Right. I've been fortunate. I've been talking to some more established marketers who got started in the traditional and have moved to digital. And they a lot of people still have no idea what SEO is, and still have this idea of like, we're sacrificing goats to Google in the back room. I mean, it's just
all that snake oil and stuff. Yep.
Yeah. So I think there's just also, I just want to add the lens of our job has already been changing rapidly as an industry. I think AI is just bringing some clarity or framing some of it that it's a little bit more visible to us right now.
Yeah. At the same time, I don't want to undersell it because I feel the AI things that have been happening this year have been nothing short of seismic. And I don't think we've seen this much change in the SEO industry. I mean, I think that predates Google, like this much rapid change all the time when there's so many news stories and like the rapid clip at which things were evolving, right? Like new newsletters, new things. We learned about the Samsungs of the world and this mistake and that mistake and who's getting sued. So I'm very happy, frankly, that that's slowed down a little bit and that it's having some well-deserved right sizing, frankly. Like there was so much news about it all the time and there was so much potential. And like any new product launch, like it gets really big and then it has that kind of normal slump after, where we figure out here's the use cases, here's its limitations. Oh wait, they're getting sued. We'll have to see how that nets out, and what does this mean for copyright law and like legal implications of all of these things. So I'm glad it has slowed down a little bit. I think it also will have other future periods of rapid change, so brace yourselves in some way. But I don't know. I'm thinking about like cross training, or because I think it's easy to say, frankly, that in the world of especially technical SEO where we sit, it has changed less. But if you're in the field of copywriting, I think your world has changed a lot more. And I don't want to, I don't know, invalidate their experience, where how many content firms have shut down this year? It is a different environment. And how many in-house teams or companies have let go their entire team, or they're down to a skeleton crew. It has been seismic, and we'll see how it shakes out. But I agree that let's right size it. Let's use it as a tool. Let's not think we can replace every single human on our team, because you can't. And the expert copywriters can look at that copy and they know why it's not hitting in ways that you or I, who are not content experts, can't necessarily tell. And you might think that that means your customers can't tell, but I think it adds up over time. There's an authenticity, there's a human connection, there's something there that's a little more indefinable, that I think we would all, I don't know, we'll have to remind ourselves over time. So let's not put too many eggs in this basket, but let's explore it, just like Sarah said.
I agree with that.
And I was going to say that I'm already overwhelmed with the amount of content that we get from AI and how interesting that is to interact with and identify what are the downfalls and what can be done and not.
Yes. Agreed.
So I don't know if I'm simplifying it, but I feel like we are talking over another subject about everything that we have been having a conversation about. So it's just like a new field that we're entering, yes, but the amount of data, or at least say content that we get, is a little bit difficult to deal with, at least for me at this time.
Oh, it can be very overwhelming.
Definitely.
Yes.
The news that are coming with it are also very overwhelming.
Yes, there's so many pieces to it. And yeah, even just, Sarah, I loved you mentioned how it has sped up some of your processes. There are so many tools out there that figuring out which ones will be the right ones to help you, I don't know about y'all, but sometimes I'm like, do I have a process? I don't know. I just kind of, because I'm an SEO, I just kind of come in and wing it. No, it's Tori would never let me get away with being that improvisational. So clients, don't worry. But it is just, trying to figure out where are those wins. And yeah, it's huge. It can be.
And just to add as well, so if we talk about Google's Eat, right? Like, how do you say that with the added E?
I like that. E. You gotta emphasize the double E.
I've heard someone else say that. That's not a Sarah original, unfortunately. But one of those E's is experience, right? So something that I do think about is that, like, AI, it can only regurgitate what is already out there. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is already common knowledge, what is already, because it uses references from different sources and stuff like that. There is still, I think it's still important to show your experience. So me working for Captivate, a podcast hosting platform, there's still some things. So when I'm writing content, I'm a podcaster myself, so I have experience and I can add what's not already out there. What's my different angle? Do you know what I mean? So, and that's just one example of where AI falls down, because, like, it doesn't have that kind of experience, or like an actual podcaster doing podcasting things and being able to write about that, right, as an example. I I don't know where Arts thought it was going to go. I think that's me done. If anyone
Unique
else-
value. You got to add it.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because we can create all the things to what we've all been saying. Okay, but as soon as everyone can create everything at a drop of a hat, how valuable does that thing become? And how does that change our industry? So we'll see how it evolves, but maybe having more of everything that's probably not the highest quality is not the winning formula for the future. Although it's going to create chop and change and pain for us along the way because, well, Google's the one that's going to have to deal with it in many ways. And we're all going to suffer as they plod their way through figuring that out in order to make their users happy.
Yep.
That was a very beautiful wrapping up. Amazing. Thank you. So, closing notes. I have a beautiful question for you all. If you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice when you're just starting out in SEO or for Tazmin consulting and coaching, what would that be?
Should I jump in?
Go ahead.
I would say take ownership of your career. See it as both a responsibility and a privilege. Don't leave it to anyone else because no one else is going to know you as well as you know you. And if you don't know you, that's part of taking ownership, having that self-awareness. So, take some time out. It could be a day, a year. Have a strategy day. Where do you want your career? What do you want to learn? What do you want to build? What skills do you want to develop? This is your career. This is your life. Have fun with it. Put yourself in, but at the same time, don't leave that to someone else. Even the best, meaning, amazing manager, they are great to have in your life. Don't rely on them. Be a partnership with them. Build connections. And I think definitely the world now is so open to different opportunities, different ways of working, different modes of working, whether it's remote or going around the world or doing whatever. And never think that it's too early or too late to start doing that. I'm redesigning my life in my 50s. And for me, I tell people I'm actually redesigning my life so that my retirement works for me. So the next 5-10 years, it is to build a retirement, because when we retire, 65, 68, most of us with a natural age span still have 10, 15, 20 years to live. What are you going to do? I don't want to be knitting and gardening all of that time. I want to be speaking. I want to be writing. I want to be presenting. So it's building up my part-time retirement job from now. And again, don't think it's too early. If you're 15, 17, 18, and you've got a vision of where you want to go, brilliant, embrace it. You can change it. But again, see it as, like I said, both a privilege and a responsibility.
Amazing.
Love that answer.
And can I jump in at this point because it's very relevant to me what you have been saying, Tazmin? But definitely having a support network, also partners who are going to hold your hand through this. It's very, very valuable. So thank you, the Great Company, and
Thank you.
yeah.
I'll jump in because my answer is also pretty similar. The short answer being just find your people. I would argue there's no job in the world that is not made better by working with people you like and respect. You know you're not alone. They can help you grow and they hold you accountable. And they're there with you on the journey, and it matters for everybody. Every job.
Love it. Is it my turn? Is it my turn to? I have had time to think of a cheesy tagline. Are you ready? Get comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I feel like we've covered the Tazmin, the accountability, like take ownership. And we've also covered the like finding your people, like and people that can support and help you grow. So mine would be, yeah, you have to get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable because things go wrong, right? And I remember when the first thing went wrong in my job and I wasn't prepared, and like it really shook me, and it got me questioning, am I a good SEO? Am I good at what I do? Right? Things go wrong all the time. But the reason you don't know about it is because people don't post about it. People don't go, hey, I effed up. Do you know what I mean? So it's getting like, yeah, people make mistakes all the time. So don't worry. At the end of the day, the biggest thing that can go wrong, I don't know, a website goes down. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing, or like money stops coming in. So cut yourself some slack. Things go wrong. And yeah, I'm going to say that tagline again. Hopefully I won't get sued because I've obviously heard it from somewhere else, haven't I? Get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
I love that. And for reference, I absolutely did delete a client's website early in my career. Thankfully, I had it back up in 4 hours because I had just taken a local backup. Yeah, those things definitely happen. Most of what I know about website infrastructure, hosting, and especially email servers, I'll say right now, is because I've broken it before and then had to fix it. So, yeah, I have to say, I guess a pivotal turning point for me in my work-life balance and in this career was when someone did finally tell me, you're not curing cancer. And it's like, oh, I'm just making a bunch of white dudes richer. Because the particular agency I was in, it was not. Yeah, I think the other thing I'd probably advise myself is don't work there. But, but yeah, just kind of that perspective of like, hey, it's like Sarah said, mistakes happen. It's going to be okay. Just you're not the only one. But then I'd say what's impacting my life most right now was the advice that I was given by someone else of being authentic. And I think that does really blend a lot into, Tazmin, what you were saying, because I also, I think about that agency that I worked at, and I dealt with a lot of things that no person should have to deal with, or, for all of us, we're women in a very technical space. And sometimes we have to deal with situations that frankly, we shouldn't have to. And when I was younger, if I had been more authentic to myself, I would have probably stood up for myself in that moment instead of just taking it. So be yourself. And the other side I say to that is, early in my career, once I started becoming a manager, I thought I had to fill a certain role or emulate and look a certain way. And what that actually did is alienate my team, and it hurt people that I really cared about. And realizing that it's because whether someone can articulate it or not, they recognize that something is artificial about you when you're not being authentic. And so that really changes all of your communication and the trust that's there. So yeah, like my first roles as a manager, I hurt a lot of people because I was trying to be something else. I was trying to be a different kind of leader because I thought that's the one I'm supposed to be, instead of coming to work and being Sam and having purple hair and tattoos and just being a little not safe for work sometimes. I have fun and I love my life. And I want everybody else to do the same. So, shorten that with, be authentic, be yourself.
We're getting deep here, y'all.
We are.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, this was absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Sarah and Tazmin, for joining us. And to my co-hosts, Tori and Begum, always lovely.
Always.
Sarah and Tazmin, where can people find you?
We are everywhere.
I love
Just
that.
Everywhere.
Yeah, please be.
Before I say all the way, say the ways to get in contact, just want to say thank you for inviting us to be on this podcast. It has been awesome. It's been really good to chat with you all. I think it's been a really good, open, transparent, and just like an honest conversation, hasn't it? And it's made my heart full. So thank you. Thank you very much. So yeah, the best way is so our podcast. Go to the SEOmindset.co.uk and check out all of our episodes there. So we are a podcast that focuses on career development, personal development, growth. We talk about subjects like this, but also like burnout, imposter syndrome, anxiety, time management. So all of that lovely stuff we talk about. And yeah, I am Sarah MCD UK on most social media channels. Someone did point out to me that spells out Sarah McDuck. So there you go. Tazmin, over to you.
So yeah, TasminSuleiman.com or LinkedIn are probably the best ways. And for women in tech, obviously our Slack community is another place where you can easily find me. And obviously, again, the podcast, because Sarah and I feel so passionately about supporting people in the industry with mental health issues, soft skill issues, all of the things that help you in your SEO career that aren't SEO. So yeah, those are the best places to find me.
Thanks again for joining us. It's been awesome.
Yes, and thank you for joining Opinionated SEO Opinions. If you have any questions about SEO soft skills or hard skills, we would love to answer them. Just submit them at thegray.company/ask SEO, and we will see you next time.